Hello there. Um, I am just getting on very quickly to. I know I say that all the time. You say that all the time, Judy. I know, I do. But this, I'll be uploading a couple videos of birds today, and you'll see I'm talking about this then. We all know about the storm Debbie and the damage that's done. But kind of an offshoot of that is um, there's a tornado warning in Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey area, and I'm New Jersey. They're saying this has something to do with crosswinds. And oh, you can see my hair just got a ruffle there. It was eerie still about 8 o'clock this morning. I'm like, it's been very hot. It's been very rainy. So the mugginess, the humidity's been like above 40 for all week. But with the heat, it was very icky, sticky. But this morning, it was like when you get a cold sweat. It's cool out. It's like 60s, maybe very low 70, mid 70s, maybe if that. Like, but it's humid. So it's kind of like when it's humid when it's winter, but it's not the 40-degree temperatures. But it was very quiet out there. It's overcast, grayish. It was weird. We got the sun come out for seriously maybe 20 seconds. By the time I said, "Oh, it's on the video I gonna be uploading after this." I even said, "Oh, here comes the sun." Oh, there goes the sun. It was pretty much that much. But it was very still. Like around 8 o'clock this morning. It's about 10 something now. Going on my reading class. I will do it properly. Oh, it's 12:30. So, it's been a very odd day. The time is fleeting. Oh, sounds like the time off. Madness takes control. It kind of feels like madness is taking control. So yeah, it was very still, and I'm thinking there's not even a ruffle of a breeze, nothing. So of course I had to go, oh, what is the weather for? And there for my town, and it popped up. Usually the heat advisories pop up in red, and this was yellow. I'm like, yellow? What's a yellow advisory? And then it said tornado. I'm like, does it say what? Say who? Tornado. I mean, I am not Dorothy, okay? Just like in May when we had, okay, it's not that short. Just like in May when we had that earthquake, that 4.8 or something like that. I told you, we get them all the time. I mean, fault lines go through here, but they're usually less than 2.5, because it's anything 2.5 and under you usually can't feel at the surface. So that was odd. And then like days later, Korean meteor went like obviously bright as shit like neon over Jersey. People's ring cams in different parts of the state caught it. For real. And now a tornado. And I looked it up, and apparently this area does get tornadoes maybe twice a year. I think they've been like 56 since the 1950, I think it said. But they usually, it says, usually only go from a couple hundred yards, which is 3 feet, so that would be considered a meter. So a couple meters to like miles, but a few miles, but not anything huge, type of thing. I think one person has lost their life in a tornado in I think it was Jersey since the 1950s. So they don't get super strong. It's kind of like the earthquake here was. It's not, oh my god, it did so much magnitude of damage, but it was definitely more of we felt that. Why did we feel that? You know, kind of thing. We don't usually feel those. It's the same thing. I'm like, we, I have never seen, when I go to look for the weather, seen a tornado advisory, and I'm 61. Not for Jersey. So it not wasn't an advisory. I think it was like a, there's a warning, and the watch means they've been spotted. You just need to keep your eye out for them. The warning means they could happen. It can happen. If anybody's ever seen the old Judy Tenuta, oh God, I loved her, comedian. So, it can happen. Google "it can happen" and Judy, and I'll bet you it'll come up. And but yes, and I have been in the last half hour. I have literally, it was cool breeze when the breeze started. That's what I was gonna say. That I started seeing the breeze starting up, and it was so eerily still. I mean, I don't know if, unless you've experienced that before, when the outside gets unusually still, and I mean not just the wind not going, but I'm talking still, like I don't hear any birds or insects, or I mean that kind of still out there. There was no kids, there was no breeze at all, no birds, no squirrels. Like I normally, if I don't see them, I'm hearing them. Nothing. Zip. It was like dead still. If you've ever experienced that, it happens sometimes, like with big earthquake, people, all of a sudden it's like something's wrong. Because things shift. Some of us feel that shit, you know. I don't mean physically feel it. So I was. That's the only reason why I even looked for the weather. Because I looked last night for today, tomorrow. I'll usually check in the early part of the day and the later part of the day because things change. And it said zippo, nada, nothing about any warnings of any tornadoes. That's the first time living in when I grew up here. Of course, you're not paying that much attention to that, to the news when you're young, but that's the first time I've been back here 12 years, maybe, I've ever seen a tornado warning, like public announcement type of thing. It was on Facebook is where I saw it. It was the New Jersey Emergency something office, emergency management office or something like that, that I subscribe to, that you know, because that I've liked, because, or follow is the word for there. But she's so, oh, get the terminology right, grandma. Whatever. I'm not a grandma, so but yes, it's been very weird. And it's gotten a little quieter out there. So I think other people are maybe getting the advisory. It did say that they're not expecting for Jersey area any hail or anything, and that is usually a big indicator. Not always, but it's usually a big indicator. If you get that very still outside like I described, and then it gets a temperature shift sometimes, often, because that's how they're formed, with hot and cold airs, you know, hot and cool airs reacting to each other. If you've ever experienced that, or even what I said about the temperature, have you ever been like where you're sitting either in, out, doing whatever, and all of a sudden it's like, I just felt the temperature completely drop. Did you feel that? It just feels like suddenly just something just, you know, it's hard to explain. I don't know. It might have to do. I'm just curious if you could let me know down there if that ever happens to you guys, because, you know, people that are like sensitive, that pick up things like that, from just nature, pick up feelings and emotions from people or animals. Um, we never know. We always think that everybody does that. And, when we find out decades into our lives that, you mean, everybody doesn't feel that? You have no clue to what I'm talking about? What are you talking about? I'm the weird one? I'm the one that. No, everybody feels that, right? I'm not? No? I'm not normal? Hmm. I mean, that's kind of how it's like, right? When you find out something that you can do without trying is not something that everybody else does. You don't grow up. That's why abuse happens and goes for so long in families and things, because people are groomed, are trained, you're used to something being a certain way, and you don't come to think that it's different for anybody else, because most people, unless you're just a total narcissistic person, um, doesn't think that their experiences are anything special or above average, that they're just typical average, just like everybody else, until something prompts that to be like, that's not true. Most people can't just run that fast without trying, or most people don't get locked in the room at night, most kids. That type of thing. I know that was dark, but that's how that pattern is done. That systematic thing is because the person having it done to them doesn't is taught to think that it's normal. That's sad. But I'm just saying, I don't want this to be a bummer. Oh God, I gotta get some ibuprofen in my head. That's another thing. All week with this weather, I have had, and I think that has to do more with a physical thing than anything. I've always had sinus issues, and your sinus cavities are big empty spaces, and they do get affected by pressure. If you've ever been in a plane, you realize that. Or if you've ever been up high, like driven up to the mountains or something, your ears, like the pressure, the pop, they say it pops. That's the air pressure difference. Same thing when you're diving and things like that. Skydiving, that kind of thing. You have that air pressure change. And so anybody that has, just like anybody that has joint issues or arthritis in the cold or the humidity, just they feel it in their bones. Or if you've ever broken a bone, a lot of times that'll ache when it's humid, rainy or snowy. For all of you who don't know that, but the sinuses are kind of with the barometric pressure change. Oh boy, I feel it, and it's a different kind of a headache. It's like that. It's like a steel band, like those crimping things that you screw down to tighten up on something. It's like one of those steel bands, like Uncle Fester and the Adams Family used to do. It's right along there, and then it just keeps getting worse in the back of your head. It's just pressure in your sinuses, just because the way mine are shaped. I don't know. Because not everybody has everything exactly alike. In case you didn't know. But yeah, I have been feeling that barometric pressure BS in my sinuses all week long. In fact, right here in my desk, a very large bottle, 200 ibuprofen tablets, because that sucker is needed. That's the only thing that gets rid of this barometric pressure headache, and I've had it all day, all week. Phew. There is a warning. It's only till 2 p.m. So, yeah, tell me climate change isn't happening. Tell me that's a hoax. Yeah. What was that? It's just a way to whatever. Yeah, whatever your theory is, conspiracy is. Fact is, global change is kicking us in our ass right now. Before it was nudging us. I mean, not only that, but that temperatures and things like that, that affects the ocean. That affects, Japan. Japan just had like a 7.1 or something quake. Right over the quake that had the most, it's right in the sun because it's on the Ring of Fire. It's right on the site. I forget what date it was, but that had the most devastating earthquake in like history of like the world of the planet, that of recorded history, and it's in the exact, that 7.1 that happened is in the exact same place. In fact, people said when the visible of their walls stopped shaking and things weren't like jittering anymore, they still were standing still and were feeling it. Just tremors, like thunder that trails off. You know, they said that's what this one. And there's people that were in their 40s and stuff, and I mean, she's not young, and she said in her whole life in an interview, she said in her entire life, she's lived there, she has never had that feeling. That once the tremor stops, you weren't feeling that trailing off part. It shifted and then stopped, and then maybe a little adjust later on. This one was more of like, I don't know if I still want to move or not, kind of thing. Don't be laughing at me, and don't be saying I need psychiatric help. I have psychiatric help, so it's not working. Yes, it is. I've always been this way. I'm just the tie-dyed sheep of the family. I mean, I've called myself that, and other people have used the lovely word of eclectic instead of weird. But I've always been that way, so do not blame that on mental health, because I have been evaluated by many. Trust me. Unfortunately, this is just me normally. I know it's scary. I know. Sometimes you have to just kind of ease into my personality. I get it. I know. It can be intense, even when I'm not. I'm just me, man. I'm not the average. I am not your average bear. If you know anything about yogi and boo-boo. Wow, the humidity. Oh my God. I can feel it as I'm talking to you. I might, another few degrees, I don't know, I might put the AC on. It's that freaking humid, for real. And it's weird because the temperature is like maybe 75. It's not hot. That's a beautiful temperature. I mean, caves are anywhere usually between 72 and 75 degrees. Beautiful, cool, but not cold. But, you know, when the wind blows, I feel that. But when it doesn't blow through, it's just that wet, but it's not hot wet feel. Yeah, kind of a disconcerting feel. I don't like that feeling. It's like I'm not sweating because I'm hot. I'm not sweating because I'm sick. It's like when you're sick and you don't have a fever and you just break out, like if you've ever had food poisoning, you break out into that cold sweat. It feels really weird because you're sweating but you're freezing. You know, it's kind of feels like that, but the humidity is actually making it feel warmer, which is very interesting. I just figured that out because, you know, it says it's such and such degrees, but it feels like such and such. That has to do with because of the wind, because humidity. And I did know, if you didn't know, that humidity, where like the reason in, let's say, Oregon or Hawaiian Islands, where the scents of the flowers are just so intense, down south in the United States, it's the real, you know, that jasmine and that honeysuckle. It just really, it's in there, you know. Um, it's humid, it's moisture that carries scent. And so in Arizona places, I've had the exact same rose and used the exact same, care. It's totally different. Even when you adjusted for the sun being more intense, um, if something says plant in full sun, that does not mean in full sun in Tucson, Arizona. No, 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 no. Petunias, yeah, things like that. They early spring, and that was it. We're talking like March, April. By May, it's heating up too hard. Pansies, petunias, they they wilt. They do not like it. But in Arizona, the scents of the even plants, particular species that are known, like this particular rose is known for its intense scent. It's like a tenth of that in Arizona for real. Oh, allergies. But yes, that is true. That the exact same plant in some place that's dry is not going to. They were glorious and huge. I had tea roses that were this huge. The first or second blooms of the year, they were freaking huge. And my grandifloras and my floribundas, they were just, oh my god, they were like dinner plate dahlias. They were so huge, for real. It was weird, but the scent does not have that intensity that it does in here in New Jersey or like Oregon or um, I've been told that when you go to Hawaii when certain things are in bloom, the scent is just it just carries everywhere. So, and that's probably because, well, they're an island. I'm sure they have humidity there. Hello. Um, but yeah, interesting little tidbit. Maybe interesting to you, maybe not. But you could see my hair. It's all just fuzzy and it's weird. It's like frizz. That that's how high the humidity is right now. It's so weird because my hair is very very fine, so it usually just lays there. It doesn't frizz, and it's just all weird. It's frizz, but it's flat, which is also very odd because when your hair frizzes up, it usually has the volume. Some people, if they normally have volume, frizz hair, and it frizzes more in humidity or steam, something like that, it's usually like super, super frizz. And mine is less frizzed. I don't know what the heck's going on. It is crazy. I know. But yes, if you're in Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, just be aware for another couple hours. We might have tornado-like weather, or maybe a tornado. Surprise! Yay! Jazz hands for the weekend coming. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go take some ibuprofen from Amazon. Peace out.